Protests turned destructive in downtown Seattle tonight. Here's what we know. Since then, we have seen widespread looting. 200 members of the Washington National Guard have been called up to come into Seattle. 75 have been deployed to Seattle tonight. The other 100.
I am also taking swift and decisive action to protect our great capital, Washington, D.C. What happened in this city last night was a total disgrace. As we speak, I am dispatching thousands and thousands of heavily armed soldiers, military personnel, and law enforcement officers to stop the rioting, looting, vandalism, assaults, and the wanton destruction of property.
All right, hey everyone, Alfred Johnson coming to you again. What a pleasure, what a pleasure. I enjoy being able to talk with you and to bring just a little bit of clarity and to what's going on. Listen, I'm just a person that wants the truth. I don't even, listen, many people think that conservatives think just like everyone else, that we're moved by media things and we're moved by deceptions. Folks. I'm willing to call a Republican a liar, a Democrat a liar, whosoever, if you're twisting the facts, if you're maligning stuff. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter if it's the president or the Congress or a judge. It's just that you're going to have to stick to constitutional principles, conservative principles. It's only by sticking to those principles that we're protected as American citizens. That's how we're protected. If they're able to do what they want to do outside of the Constitution, if they're able to create their own laws and they're able to manipulate and do things willy-nilly, and we have no controls, there's no source, there's no source for us to be able to stand up and say, wait a minute, you've stepped outside of your realm of power. If that doesn't exist, then folks, we're in trouble. Furthermore, we're slaves if that's what's happening. So no, we want to make certain, folks, that we're doing what's right by ourselves and by our children and our children's children. Listen, make certain that you're sharing these videos. Listen, when we get to the end, share it, like it. Make certain that you're sending it to as many as possible. We want millions to be able to hear what we're saying here. And folks, it's so very important. This is the most important election of our lifetime. And folks, I don't even know why it's so close. The president, everything that the president has done in terms of policy. Now you have people that are upset with the president's personality. I'm sitting there thinking, what is wrong with you guys? You think that his personality is what's becoming law? Listen, that just doesn't make any sense. I hear people say, well, if you are a former pastor, there's no way you should vote for Trump and how he treated women in the past. I'm sitting there thinking, folks, did y'all ever hear him introduce any legislation about wives and second wives or third wives? Have you seen any law that he's passed about that? Have you seen any kind of immoral thing that he's trying to just push forward? I mean, just, boy, I tell you the truth, what have you found? And if, by the way, if you do, why don't you go ahead and just somehow send it to me, email it to me or whatever, Facebook it back to me. But I'm telling you, it isn't there. I listened to most of his speeches, most of them, even the ones where he's actually just sitting down at a table and talking to a group. I listen to what he's saying and I'm analyzing it. No, I'm not gullible to where you take in everything that he says and you say, no, you analyze everything, including from the president. And I'm telling you from my analysis, and by the way, I'm a very independent thinker, very independent. If you lie, I'm going to call you out. And I'm telling you from my analysis and watching this president, I am astounded with what he's doing, the great accomplishments. What he promised during his last campaign when he was running for president the first time, he actually did what he said he would do. Everything he said he would do. Now, many of you are saying, well, no, he didn't. When it came to the wall, he said the Mexicans were going to pay for it. And some of you just like that. You like to harp on that because the media tells you. Because in your mind, you're thinking that the president of Mexico is going to take $5 billion or so, however many billions of dollars, and just hand it to us like that. Folks, listen to me. If you are in the position to relate with a neighbor in such a way that your country is going to be able to retain more wealth than it was able to do under a previous policy. if you're going to be able to bring in multiples of billions of dollars because of a redefined trade policy. You went from NAFTA to the USMCA, the United States Mexico-Canada Agreement. That deal would open up American businesses and jobs, and it would deal with the trade. It would deal with our imports and exports in such a way is that we're going to be making money from Mexico hand over fist in a way that we weren't making before, because we properly corrected our trade policies and our relationship with them to such a degree that the profits gained by this new administration's policies with Mexico would pay for the wall. That is, we're going to be gaining money from Mexico through new policies, and those new policies would produce wealth that would pay for the wall. Folks, that's so simple. That's not even difficult. It's only difficult when you want it to be. When you try to narrow the wall being paid for by the president of Mexico coming in and writing a check to the president of the United States. No, you're going to write the check. It's just going to come through your businesses. It's going to come through your corporations. It's going to come through our trade deals. It's going to come through all the imports and export changes that the president's policy brought about. They will, in fact, and they are, in fact, paying for that wall, just like the president said. And whatever else you might have, what other discussion do you need to have? The president's doing a remarkable job on every front. I'm going to mention a few more here and how it impacts the black community, how it impacts you. And it's because I value you. I value you. But I know that the media and what you're hearing on there, you're not going to be hearing all this kind of stuff. You'd have to be listening to the conservatives to be able to hear what I'm telling you. People who are thinkers and who are not being swept away with a mob who out of straight emotion and ignorance are pushing forward ideas that are destructive, deadly. And now, folks, we got to wake up. How about this one right here? The 25% lowest paid Americans enjoyed a 4.5% income boost in November of 2019. This outpaced the 2.9% gain in earnings for the country's highest paid workers. So before this disease, this plague, whatever it is, came to our country, and the president had to respond, and now the Democrats are ruining stuff. They're ruining their states. It's unbelievable what they're doing. But before this occurred, at the end of the fourth quarter of 2019, there was a 4.5% income boost in the lowest earning Americans, among them us. Now, they compare that 4.5% increase to the 2.9% gain from the country's highest workers. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's not really comparing apples to apples. We just need to celebrate the fact that there was a 4.5% gain in our income. And that's something remarkable. And you might say, well, why not compare it to their 2.9? Because our growth was faster than theirs. Yeah, the amount of wealth that 2.9% growth represents among the wealthy is vastly superior than the 4.5% among the lowest income. Nonetheless, it's still something to be highly celebrated. A 4.5% increase? Man, that's something that I'm telling you right here, you should just literally, you should put your tap shoes on and just start creating new taps around you. You should be dancing. That is an amazing accomplishment. This is under the policies of our president. These are unprecedented things. This is just remarkable stuff. But it's under our president and his policies, trade policies, immigration policies. It's just amazing things. Hopefully, it talks about immigration here a little bit later, but I'll get into it if it does. He signed a bill this year allowing some drug imports from Canada so that prescription prices would go down. Again, we would look at that and say, well, what does that have to do with us? Because if you're young and you listen to that, it doesn't seem like it applies to you, but it does. Because if our older people or people who are just ill are having to purchase drugs and the market has been limited, that is, the people who we can buy it from is limited, well, then the drug dealers that are selling to us are going to be able to jack up their prices because there's not as much of the competition coming in to help drive the prices down. You see, competition drives down the prices. If you remove the competition, then the businesses that remain, they control everything, prices go up. The president opened up drug imports from Canada that caused some of the drug prices to go down. And they will go down even further within this last quarter of this year. And beginning of next year, it is going to be astoundingly lower. And what does that mean for you and your family? What does it mean for your grandma? What does it mean for your mom, your dad? What does it mean for these that are having to purchase drugs? It means that money is able to be retained by those families and spent in a more worthwhile manner. I mean, many of you, what would it be like instead of buying insulin for $150, $200, you're now able to get the kind of insulin you want. Now, you know, my wife is also diabetic, and the kind of insulin that's being sold at some of the the larger food chain stores and whatever these, I include Walmart in that. There's a certain insulin that sells, yes, they'll sell it to you for a little bit less than $30. Sounds real good. It just happens not to be the good insulin, the one that really works well. At least that's the way it is for my wife and for my wife, okay? And so that's the one we get, but the one that we want to get is priced out of range. It's really remarkable. I mean, not so much out of our range, but out of many people's range, and I don't even want to buy it. Yes, I do buy it. I have to buy the upper one, but because it works. And of course, because I love my wife, I'm willing to spend whatever I have to spend to get my baby's health right. But hey, that insulin price is going to be dropping because of the president's deal. And we're going to be able to get the kind of insulin that we want because that very kind of insulin is sold in Canada. It'll be coming down here. Folks, listen, this affects your family directly. And by the way, the money that you save, going from $150 to $200 a bottle down to $35, $40, $50, oh, that extra money I think I can do something with. I might be able to save that, and that adding up month after month after month and being able to invest it, that's going to bring in a little bit of wealth. It's going to help my family to be able to move forward, and yours as well. This is what happens as the president makes these kinds of moves. They directly affect your family. It's not just some kind of political idea. No, money in your pocket so that you can grow in terms of your prosperity. And believe me, you know more what to do with your money than somebody else does. That's if you're a focused person and a learning person. Otherwise, you're blowing it on 21-inch rims and stuff that don't even matter. Okay? You got to save that money and invest, get ready to grow, get ready to cooperate with others of our race and build together and grow together. And watch what happens when you take advantage of the American dream. It's a beautiful thing, and your children are going to be the better off for it. Well, how about this one? We've got more to come on drug prices. In the 8 years prior to President Trump's inauguration, prescription drug prices increased by an average of 3.6% per year. This was before the president came into office. Under President Trump, drug prices have seen year-over-year declines in 9 of the last 10 months, with a 1.1% drop as of the most recent month. We are seeing the prices of drugs go down progressively every month with this president. And it's about to drop substantially by the end of the fourth quarter, that is the last 3 months of this year, and into the next year. Next year, this stuff is going to be bizarre. The savings that our family, the black families, because we have to buy this stuff. By the way, you might say, yeah, but what about the other families? Why are you mentioning the black families? It just happens to be that we lead the nation in everything that deals with diabetes, heart disease, strokes, things that, oh my goodness, we lead in a lot of these things, these diseases and cancers, and it's not good. And so we need the inexpensive medication. And when you have these prices jacked up like this, you're taking direct money away from our families. We're not going to be able to save to buy what we need to buy. We're not going to be able to invest. These drug prices being lowered are remarkable for our race. Now you got to wake up now. You mess around and allow somebody else that doesn't understand business, which, by the way, what a wonderful thing to have a businessman for a president, because he had to actually work his way. He had to work those philosophies out in the real world. You have presidents that are now coming out of college. They have never worked their knowledge. They have never worked it in the real world. It's all been in their brain, stuff stuffed into them from the universities. Then they come and experiment with you and me. No, you want a person who in their daily lives, they've had to put their principles into practice and either get help by implementing them or hurt by implementing them. Either way, they're going to learn, and at the end of their day, at the end of their game, they're going to be sharp as pins. We happen to be blessed to have Donald J. Trump as president of the United States. We are blessed to have an accomplished businessman that's just outwitting the opponents on every front. Internationally, locally, this president is an awesome president. Matter of fact, I never thought I'd see this in my lifetime. I never thought I'd see it. Beautiful economic policies, beautiful trade policies, beautiful local policies within our own country, beautiful. And I'm excited about what's taking place. Good stuff. How about this one? VA employees are being held accountable for poor performance, with more than 4,000 VA employees removed, demoted, and suspended so far. over 4,000. And by the way, this was months ago, that 4,000. You might say, how in the world does that impact us? Family. There's many of us that serve in the military, many of us. In the Army, there's many of us that serve in the Army, not really in all branches of the military, but specifically the Army, there's a bunch of us. And when we get out of serving, many of our brothers are needing to have proper service performed on them in our VA. And when you have all these unions and government unions pulling together and basically protecting each other from liability and protecting each other from getting fired, they end up treating our troops as second-hand citizens, third-hand citizens sometimes. The president changed all that. Now, these government workers that are supposed to be serving our troops, if they don't treat our black troops right, they can be reported on and fired. Folks, this happened under Trump. This did not happen under Obama. This did not happen under the first Bush, the second Bush, Clinton, Reagan, Carter. Didn't happen under any of them. This president brought about VA reform, and it helps our people. The health of our people means the betterment of our people. And we have to make certain that our military people that are getting out are being taken care of. This president made certain that it happened. Another part, that's just beautiful. Just beautiful. Let's see. How about this one? Because of a bill signed and championed by Trump, in 2020, most federal employees will see their pay increase by an average of 3.1%. That's the largest raise in more than 10 years. Now, in case you didn't know, the government employs more blacks than any other entity. The government employs. We work for the government. Blacks do. We work for the government more than any other business, more than any other entity, if you will. The government's not a business, but no, we work for the government more than any other entity, which means that if you're dealing with a 3.1% average pay increase for the federal employees, there are thousands and millions of blacks that are being impacted by that. These are pay raises that help you to do things in terms of savings, in terms of investing in homes, in terms of taking care of your babies and their college and everything else. Folks, this is absolutely amazing stuff. You're talking about a 3.1% increase? Folks, this is stuff that you need to tap. You listen, you need to dance and celebrate. This is amazing stuff that the president is putting forward. 3.1% increase. That's the largest pay raise in more than 10 years. That is almost the entire time of Obama. There was not a raise like this for federal workers. This is beautiful stuff. Trump signaled an order allowing small businesses to group together when buying insurance to get a better price. Again, a huge thing for small businesses that employ us. Listen, we either run the small business, which many of us do, or we work for the small business. Either way, we're going to benefit if we're able to pull together with other small businesses so that we can negotiate with insurance companies. That one policy has made it so that businesses are able to save a bunch, and you as individuals who have to pay for insurance along with your businesses, you both get to pay a whole lot less for insurance because you're able to bargain collectively with other smaller businesses with the insurance company. That was done under this president. It was not done under the previous administration of Obama, Bush 2, Clinton, Bush 1, Reagan, Carter 4. Listen, y'all, this was done under our president. This is a huge savings, a huge insurance savings for people who are in this financial status. It's just a beautiful thing, and this applies to the lower middle class and the middle class, and then the upper middle class. This is amazing stuff right here, and you can see all of these things combining, your family's wealth upticking. This is just the way it is, everybody. So we've got to wake up. We've got to wake up. And how about I give you at least just one more here? This is unbelievable. The president signed legislation forgiving Hurricane Katrina debt that threatened HBCUs. They're historically black colleges and universities. These are historically black colleges. During Katrina, many of them were damaged, and they had a bunch of debt because of having to restore their campuses, their campi. The president signed legislation forgiving those Hurricane Katrina debts for our black colleges and universities. Folks, that is remarkable. How about this one? Trump increased the funding for historical black colleges and universities by more than 14%. Folks, that represents multiple millions of dollars. Folks, this president did it. No, it was not done by Obama. It was not done by Trump 2. It was not done by Clinton. It was not done by Bush 1. It was not done by Reagan. It was not done by Carter. It was not done by Ford. This assistance, this is amazing assistance. A 14% increase to the HBCUs, the historical black colleges and universities. This was done directly for us and our children, directly for the future leaders, and directly for the administrations and the staffs of those colleges that were trying to survive. This kind of economic boost to our people is remarkable. And having my son go to one of those historically black colleges and universities is huge. Bethune-Cookman. My son graduated from there. And then he went on to Stetson to get his law degree. But my goodness, this is an amazing thing for those schools. What a relief. What a relief. Wow, wow, wow. The president made HBCUs a priority by creating the position of executive director of the White House Initiative on HBCUs. That is, he created a position, a regular position, in his immediate group of people that made certain that he was informed on what's going on in those HBCUs. He wants to know what's going on in the black colleges. He wants to see where there's shortfalls so he can supply for them. This is what has been done. I'm a very happy man to be able to report on this, and you should be happy for hearing it reported. There is a bunch of good things happening for us. And by the way, as our young people make it through those universities, they have the prospects of becoming recipients and participators in the American dream in a way that helps everybody to move forward. Folks, let's pay attention. Let's listen to what's going on. Let's listen. Let's support this president as he continues to help the black community. And we're running out of time. We have the remainder of this month and into the first few days of November to inform people on what's going on out there. Please share this with your friends and with your family. Share this with people who don't know, people who are angered as if this president is racist. They have no idea. We've got to wake up. May God help us all. Remember, share this. Like it and share it. Make certain as many people as possible here. God bless you now. We're going to continue with this on the next program.
I am also taking swift and decisive action to protect our great capital, Washington, D.C. What happened in this city last night was a total disgrace. As we speak, I am dispatching thousands and thousands of heavily armed soldiers, military personnel, and law enforcement officers to stop the rioting, looting, vandalism, assaults, and the wanton destruction of property.